Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we're talking about the craziness going on in the MVP race in the NHL, and it is not really a race. It is a race, but the crazier thing is the debate going on for it, as everyone is just so nuts about it, and I just think it's weird because there's one camp, and I'll talk it for really Nathan McKinnon, that is so diehard and just thinks it's absurd to think anyone else deserves it, which I think is nuts. And then there's a camp of people who are more like, well, yeah, McDavid, though. He is the best player. He's done so good this season. Without him, is his team anywhere near the playoffs? Is a whole discussion in and of itself. So you got McDavid camp, and then there's camps of, Kucherov, who gets, absolutely no talk at all, even though he leads the league in points. Then Matthews gets his cat thrown in there because diehard Maple Leafs fans and just kind of casual hockey fans and just kind of young idiots don't know what they're talking about, thinking Matthews deserves the title. And then people who really think they're know-it-alls about hockey think Crosby deserve it. And then some other guys are thrown into the ring that are not going to win it at all. So let's just go down through each player currently being the top nominations for us. So right now, the number one pick, I think overall, for most people, would be Nathan McKinnon. His 51 goals this season so far, 86 assists, and 137 points as of right now. That means he's second in points this year. He's been going back and forth all year long with Nikita Kucherov and for first place, and McKinnon also is fourth in goals currently. So the biggest pros going towards Nathan McKinnon this year, right, is kind of all year long. It's kind of been a talked about story, but the biggest numbers for him, right? And I know I should have the numbers for you, right? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna find them real quick. Hang on. Okay, whatever. I can't find the actual numbers, but it's the whole thing is that he's Avalanche have scored 400 goals in the season. He's been on the ice for 56% of them or something like that. I don't know. The numbers are insane what Nathan McKinnon has done this year. He's scored 51 goals, 137 points, and he's on the ice for most of those goals being scored for the Colorado Avalanche on 5-on-5. This guy is unreal. McKinnon in the defensive zone, and you can make your argument all you want, right? McKinnon being a better overall player, being just dominant. You are absolutely correct, okay? And I'm going to come back to him in a little bit because McKinnon right now I think should be the truly number one consensus overall pick for the Hart this season, and I'll get back to him. Let's keep going down the list though. Nikita Kucherov, 43 goals, 96 points assists this season, 139 points right now, leads the NHL. And I know I put him second. I should have put Matthews and McDavid, but I feel like Kucherov deserves some more talking about. This guy, I don't know if it's just because it's Tampa Bay, so they don't get talked about more, even though they're back-to-back champs 3 times in a row, going to the finals. No one takes them seriously still, is insane. Nikita Kucherov having another unreal year and being probably the most underrated best player in the world. Because, I don't think he's the best player in the world, but, every single season, he's up here in the top guys of scoring, and yet no one, ever cares. It's nope, no one cares. McKinnon, Matthews, McDavid, no one cares. Nikita Kucherov is just as good as any of these guys, especially on the power play, and when you want to look at a guy where if you erase him from a team, can the team still succeed? Kucherov, if the Lightning were without Kucherov for the whole season like they did that one year where they benched him, this team does not make the playoffs. They're barely scraping into the first place. Well, not barely scraping in, but you get it. And in the wild card spot, if you erase Kucherov from this lineup, they're nothing. Stamkos doesn't have a guy to feed him the puck. Braden Point is having an absolutely great year. But without Kucherov, this team is missing a major playmaker in the lineup. And that is what the Hart always comes down to, right? You erase this guy from the lineup, does this team succeed? Who is the most valuable player in the league, right? And to me, Kucherov makes a team like the Lightning go from barely not even in the playoffs to barely squeaking in to a guy like McKinnon where you take him out of the lineup and the Avalanche still have Makar, they still have Taves, they still have Rantanen, they still have Nichushkin back there, they still got a good couple of players, got Georgiev in the net. They have a good solid lineup that still probably makes the playoffs, right? but Nathan McKinnon just excels him even further into playing for potentially the President's Trophy, right? So that's Kucherov's case, is that without him, this team, I mean, he leads the league in points, for one, and two, he is pulling them into the playoffs. Austin Matthews, of course, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've heard at this point that this guy is maybe going to make 70 goals this year, which would be unreal for him to do. Currently at 66 goals, but 104 points, and I feel like the conversation for Austin Matthews should be gone away. I think what he is doing for goal scoring is unreal, but if you erase his 66 goals and you erase Austin Matthews from the Maple Leafs lineup, I don't know if that changes very much. You know, like, I mean, if you erase, like, Matthews, right? Let's say Matthews was instead traded last year. Like, he was traded to the Arizona Coyotes, right? They were traded to the Coyotes, and they have that money to play with. Do the Maple Leafs still play good with the money that they could have gone around with? Maybe they go out there, they get a guy like Taylor Hall. They bring Taylor Hall in, then they bring in someone else. Do the Maple Leafs still make it into the playoffs? And I think they do. I think with Marner and Nylander's amazing seasons, Tavares still on the team, Riley on the back end, they still have a lot of good things going for them. And I do think Matthews, what he is doing is incredible, is insane, and I do think he will be up there, maybe top 3 at the end of his career in goal scoring, maybe number 1, and it is insane. And I am a huge Matthews fan, but is he a MVP candidate this year? I think he should be talked about, just how amazing his season is and how he is the best goal scorer maybe ever, but MVP, I don't think so. Connor McDavid, once again, the big debate between him, McKinnon, like, McDavid, 31 goals, 99 assists this season. He's 1 away from becoming the 4th player in NHL history. 4th. The 4th in history. And I feel like people always, like, underrate these type of things. Because with Erik Karlsson last season with 100 points for a defenseman, I don't remember what it was, but he was it the 5th or 6th? Maybe he was the 4th as well. But he was in the 100-plus years of the NHL. McDavid now is going to be the 4th guy ever to have 100 assists. Kucherov could be doing the same thing, right? Potentially this season. Those two guys, 4th and 5th in the entire history, going back before World War II and around World War I. Well, I guess it would be afterwards, so I'm an idiot, but you get what I'm saying. It would be this history that has gone on so far and has expanded so much of history. He would be only the 4th guy to ever do it. 4th on that list is insane. That is insanity what Connor McDavid is doing. In 130 points, and also to note, he's missing about 3 or 4 games behind some of the other top guys in the league. So if you want to add in those points, right, and you want to add in like those 3 or 4 games and give him like maybe like a couple more points, maybe give him like 4 or 5 points, 135, he's right 2 points behind McKinnon, just a few more points behind Kucherov. Like, he is up there, 130 points. It is unreal what he is doing. And I think the biggest debate, of course, is between McDavid and McKinnon, right? Because everyone always like just wipes out the idea of Nikita Kucherov, and then guys like people like Crosby are like, yeah, he should be up there, and I'll talk about him in a second. But the real debate is McDavid and McKinnon. And I think the debate should just come down to MVP this season. And I will always stand by this, that in a given year or in a given time frame, McKinnon can be a better player than McDavid. But the best player, in my opinion, in the history of the league is Connor McDavid. I think he is the most skilled. He's just the all-around skilled player. Maybe all-around hockey game where it comes to the D zone and stuff, right? Maybe people can say whatever you want about McDavid not being like the best defensive player. It's not like he's a wash back there like Alex Ovechkin used to be, right? Like McDavid is a solid guy in his own zone. He maybe not in like laying out the body or blocking shots, but being able to outskill a player, like he is there. And sure, McKinnon better in the D zone, absolutely. But if I'm going to build a team, and I was like pick one guy from any team in the league, right? I'm going to pick one player. I'm picking Connor McDavid to be on my team. And I think anyone would be nuts to choose anyone else on this board or anyone else not on this board. McDavid is the best player in the world, but when it comes to the MVP race, I do think McKinnon edges him out. I think Connor McDavid is the better player, but Nathan McKinnon is a much more vital member of his team and has been, and just what he has done, and in the categories too. Because sure, assists and points, right? McDavid edges him out in assists, and he's not above him in points. But McKinnon is also 51, fourth in the league in goals, right? And I think as the season winds down, as with a few games left, he's going to be playing his heart out to pump that number up because he's finally crossed 50 goals. My guess he's going to try to go for 55, get that number up there, try to get that number, the 137. He's going to be playing his absolute heart out. Not that any of you guys don't do that every game, but McKinnon is a dog, right? That's what everyone calls him. He's the dog, Nate Dogg on the ice. He's going to go out there and he is going to fight. And that's the thing about McKinnon. That's why I do prefer him in the playoffs as well. Is McKinnon is a fighter. He just plays so angry. And I think McKinnon this season is the MVP so far. Then you want to come to guys like Sidney Crosby. 40 goals, 46 assists, 86 points, which is 19th in the league, right? That is not what we're looking at. For a team that should be as abysmal as the Pittsburgh Penguins, they're currently, I think, 1 point in a playoff spot, right behind the Washington Capitals. Crosby, when it comes to a player being the most important to a team, I think Crosby edges everyone else on this board. Because with the Avalanche, right, they still have Rantanen, Makar. I mean, Makar is the best defenseman in the league, depending on who you want, whatever, right? He's at least top 3. They still have Georgiev in net. They have a solid goaltender. They got good defense and solid depth on the team. The Lightning, Stamkos, Braden Point, Brandon Hagel, Victor Hedman, Sergachev when he's healthy, Chernak back there, Vasilevsky, incredible team. Matthews, get him out of the lineup. Nylander, Marner, keep going on. You get what I'm saying. Crosby, without Sidney Crosby, who the hell does this team have? Washed up Malkin, Letang, who isn't the type of defenseman he is anymore. And then I can name some players, but I don't need to, right? There's no one on this Penguins team that makes up for that and keeps this team competitive. Without Crosby, that team is absolutely atrocious, and he keeps this team afloat just enough to maybe make it in the playoffs, which is unreal. So when you want to make a case for the most valuable player for a team, Crosby wins that title, but most valuable player in the league goes to McKinnon. Panarin and Pastrnak, people are also making claims for. For Panarin, I get a little bit more, 46 goals, 70 assists, 116 points for him. Sure. Artemi Panarin is an unreal player, and I don't care what you want to say. Best free agent signing of all time. Maybe the best no, not even that. Panarin wins that case hands down all day against Zach Hyman. You're nuts to think of Zach Hyman. You get rid of Connor McDavid from Zach Hyman, he is not a 50-goal scorer, right? That is a amazing duo, right? Those two work well so together the way their styles play with each other, right? But Zach Hyman, if he was on the Rangers instead, it is not the same story. Panarin, if he went to the Oilers, I know the money wouldn't work, but let's just say that Panarin's probably getting 150 points and McDavid the same thing every single season. Hyman would probably be getting maybe 30 goals. He's still a good player, but he's not a 54-goal scorer. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. Panarin, he is not the vitalist member of the New York Rangers, right? Is he the best player on that team? Yes. Is he vital? Yes. Is he the MVP? No. The Rangers are a all-around amazing team, and he just happens to be the most skilled offensive producing guy of that team. So Panarin, no. Pastrnak, same thing. This team, the President's Trophy current, I don't know if they are at this actual current moment, but the Bruins, no. I do not see Pastrnak winning the title. Does he deserve a nomination of this list of 7 guys? Sure. But in the list, is he number 7? Yes. Is he number 7 of the group of the best players in the world? Yes. So that's not any sort of bad talk about him. It's just, Pastrnak hasn't been putting on, a lights-out goal-scoring year with, 60 goals. He hasn't been, he's not the highest in points. Pastrnak is an incredible player, and absolutely. Will he win the Hart one year? I think so. Is this the year? No. Panarin, is this year? No. Crosby, is this the year? He's won it in the past, so he doesn't need it this year. But does he have it? Does he deserve a nomination or maybe even a running up nomination, sure, but I don't think Crosby's going to win it. Overall, I think the most valuable player in the league this season is Nathan MacKinnon. If you place him even on like the Arizona Coyotes, I think they have a chance of making it in. You place him on the San Jose Sharks, this guy is going to put on still like a 120-point season, maybe like 110, and still get like, maybe because it would be more on him to get goals. He could get 60 goals on a team like the Sharks, right? MacKinnon, with the way he's played this year, he is the most vital player. And when it comes to the debate of like who is the best player in the world is a different story. But this season alone, the MVP race should go to Nathan MacKinnon. He plays so hard in every zone. Without him, the Avalanche are a little bit lesser than I think this year. I think Mackinnon, Rantanen, everyone on this team is maybe taking a little bit of a step back this season. Especially like Rantanen not being like that total like goal scorer that we're used to, just kind of being set back a little bit. McKinnon has made up for those little bit of like setbacks for those guys in 137 points, 51 goals, the amount of percentages of him being on the ice for his team. Nathan MacKinnon is the MVP this season. It is hands down. Kucherov, I think, deserves more talk and nomination and more praise, but I just don't think what he is, especially since it's on the power play, right? Like, MacKinnon is also good on the power play, but Kucherov is a power play bandit, and I just don't think his points coming from that and his overall play in all zones really gets him there, because the overall best player would go to MacKinnon. Matthews, the goal-scoring aspect isn't enough for me to win him over. McDavid, and if Matthews was, like, maybe, like, incredibly more, if it was, like, 80 goals, I'd be, like, 1,000%, but 66 goals, just like, no. Like, it is just not enough. So for me, MacKinnon gets the nomination. He wins the award, as he should. This is his year. This is the year of the dog. And MacKinnon wins it this season. So that is all I got to say. So thank you for watching this. I'm sure you're probably going to completely disagree with me. And it seems like what's going to happen is that half the fans of the NHL will go like, he's right. He's on the dot. And then everyone else is going to go like, no, McDavid's the best in the world. No, Matthews is absolutely incredible. Whatever you want to think, this is my opinion. You have yours. So that's all I got to say. So thank you for watching this. If you made it this far, please, I am begging you, please subscribe. Please just subscribe. And until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.